Good morning, YouTubers. Thank you for joining me again. Matt Hunt here with MDH Technologies. So I greatly appreciate your time, and as promised today, I'm here to talk to you about the good of Office 365. So this is the second in a two-part series about the good about Office 365 and the bad. Now, yesterday, I started with the bad of Office 365 so that people wouldn't just go run out and buy it, right? Just it's important to be well informed and have sort of a good balance of information. Today we're gonna touch on the items that I see as positives Office 365. So the first is that when using a service like Office 365, you have the benefit of Microsoft's massive infrastructure, right? Let's face it, Microsoft does not pay themselves necessarily for the licensing on product and software that they already own. So really the only costs that they have are the support costs, right? The internet connectivity costs and the hardware costs. The rest of it, all of the licensing and the software and so on, is essentially free to them. So now you have the benefit of all of that infrastructure, right? Multiple data centers, multiple servers, probably an HA or high availability kind of setup, which just means, in theory, you should have no downtime or very, very little downtime. Now that hasn't always necessarily been our experience, but by and large, the Office 365 service availability has been very good for our customers. Okay, the second thing I wanted to mention about the good about Office 365, right, is the price point. So it's a very low cost of entry. Okay, they have very reasonable service plans that include just the Exchange part or the Exchange and the Microsoft Office part. And then they've got other add-ons like archiving and other things. So once again today, not talking about the OneDrive and the SharePoint and all of that because we really typically don't recommend that customers use those features. Once again, low entry cost. So if you're a company that is looking to get into an email solution with very low entry without having to buy licensing or your own hardware or host things on premise yourself and have all of the expenses of doing that, Office 365 may be a good fit for you. Office 365 is also highly scalable, right? What does that mean? Well, it means that you can start with one or a few accounts and scale it out to hundreds or thousands even. Now, Microsoft asks that if you're over X, I think it's over 100 or 200 accounts or something, that you call them and talk to them so that they can likely engineer the back end so that it would be set up properly for that kind of demand. So just know that Office 365 is highly scalable. Now, that doesn't mean you can just grow with it. That means you can shrink as well. So sometimes companies need the ability to grow very quickly or shrink very quickly, or both of those. Okay, an example of something like that might be like project-oriented company where you're going to staff up for a large project and that may last several months or several years, and then you'll need to reduce your staff because projects are over while you try to get more contracts or do something different with the company in that regard. So scalability is an important factor for some companies. Next and last point that I wanted to bring up today was about migration. So migrations can be time consuming and they can be costly. Not just the due diligence, but the actual migration processes themselves, moving the data from point A to point B. There can be some real challenges there. And then getting new platforms installed and stuff integrated into existing systems and all of this. So migrations are quite a challenge. Now, there are currently no known migration concerns with Office 365. So in theory, once you're on their platform, you would be able to seamlessly transition from one version of Office 365 to another and to another and so on. Now, is that going to change at some point? That's a question I can't answer today. That's yet to be seen. But to my knowledge, there is no information released about any kind of migration intervention that users or IT staff would need to complete in order to be compliant with new versions of 365 or anything. So that is inherently one of the benefits of cloud-based solutions, is that the migrations are much easier or very little concern to the end users who are being hosted in that environment. Now, that's different if you're the IT department setting your own private cloud, but that's not what we're talking about today. So there are four definite advantages to Office 365 without question. The benefit of the massive amount of Microsoft infrastructure, the low cost of entry, the scalability, and the ease or no known migration concerns. Matt Hun with MDH Technologies, thank you for joining me today to talk about Office 365. I greatly appreciate your time. And if you're in the need to discuss your IT needs, myself or one of my staff at MDH Tech will be happy to discuss those with you. Thank you again.